Hi, I hope you're having a great week so far. I wanted to go over the assignment for this week and provide you with a little bit of guidance to get you started. So, if we see here on our Blackboard page, this week we are discussing intentional torts and criminal acts. Now, you are going to take your valuable case briefing skills, which you learned during the case brief activity, and use them for a case brief assignment. So you will be briefing a case that relates directly to intentional torts, as that is the plaintiff's primary complaint. So you'll see how this lawsuit is applied in a sport setting. So if you scroll down the page, right down here, you will see case brief materials and you'll see the case brief assignment. Now, on this link, case brief assignment, that is where you will submit your paper. So the actual homework assignment, click that link and that's where you will submit it. However, I want you to pay attention to this section right here, the case brief materials. Now, to successfully complete this assignment, the first thing that you should do is to review the rubric. You'll see the rubric is the second link available right here, and I will go ahead and pull it up. See if I can find it. Here we go. Okay, let me move this over a bit so that my face is not in the way of the rubric. Okay. Now, as you can see in this rubric, sorry, adjusting the size. Wow, this is just working really well for me right now. Okay, you should be able to read this. The rubric will point out the learning outcomes to be accomplished through the assignment, but I want you to notice the structure of this rubric. Now, this is the same structure that I take for all of my rubrics. So what you should be really paying attention to is this third column. That's excellent. So in order to get a 100% or to earn as many points as possible, you need to meet the standards that are outlined in this excellent column. So really focus your attention there. Now, this rubric is detailed. It identifies everything that you need to include in your assignment. So the first thing, title page. You should have a separate title page that has this information: the citation, your name, Ball State University, and the date the assignment is due. And then you'll see some familiar sections: facts of the case, the legal issue, complaint, defense. And for each of those sections, there is a description of what should be included in that section. Now, you've completed the case brief activity, so you should have a good understanding of what type of content goes in each of these sections. So each section will be graded individually, 6 points for each component of the case brief assignment. Procedural history, court decision, those are all very familiar to you. Now, one new element I wanted to point out is this idea of practical application. So you explain the relevance of the case to the sport industry and then provide 4 to 5 practical strategies for sport administrators to limit liability. What I mean by this is you will be reviewing a case. It's actually a really fun case. It's about Kobe Bryant accidentally falling into the stands and supposedly injuring a fan. And so you'll talk about the relevance of the case. Guess what? That instance of basketball players falling into the stands after diving for a ball, that happens all of the time. And so there is a high potential for this lawsuit to occur again. So that is what I mean by discussing the relevance of the case. Who does it relate to? And then in terms of practical strategies, I want you to think specifically of the case in mind. So the case you will be reviewing, like I said, is about Kobe Bryant falling into the stands and potentially injuring someone. Well, practical strategies to prevent that type of lawsuit from happening again might be to have a disclaimer on the tickets for courtside seats that you are in a more dangerous area. That would be a great strategy to limit the facility and the player's liability for injury. Another strategy might be to talk with players about the boundaries and about appropriate conduct. for if they do fall into the stands, because I know that several players have gotten into fights with people in the stands, and one of the complaints in this particular case is intentional infliction of emotional distress, that Kobe Bryant looked at him in a mean way. So maybe behavior, how to handle yourself after you fall into the stands, things of that nature. So that's what I mean by what are practical strategies that you could advise to the players, to the coaches, to the fans, to the facility managers in order to limit liability and reduce the possibility of this lawsuit happening again. Okay, so going back to Blackboard, let's see. So that's the rubric. Make sure to review it in detail. Let me know if you have any questions about the rubric and what my expectations are. I did provide you, if you look at this third link, this is a student example, and they did a great job, received really strong marks, and I wanted to provide it for you so that you have an idea of kind of the structure of a paper. Now here, separate title page, has all of the information I'm looking for, double spaced, looks great. And if you continue moving down the page, the content is written in a narrative, not a bullet point format. You'll see a separate bold heading for each of the sections. This is great organization. Each section should be 1 to 2 paragraphs in length. Most of them will be 1 paragraph in length. The practical application section will most likely be 2 paragraphs. But just kind of scrolling down here, you'll see a really good idea of an effective structure for this particular assignment. So court decision, you're seeing all the necessary sections, practical application. So you see right here, the ski resorts could do many things to further limit liability. One such example is having more signs. These signs could include ones saying that avalanches are possible. So really practical strategies for your audience that are suggesting ways to limit liability. It's kind of what that section is supposed to look like. And then this link right here, this is the case that you need to read. I pulled this up already right here, and I want to point out right here we're seeing the case citation, the very beginning, top of the page. Now this is at the United States Court of Appeals level, so there will be a procedural history section. At the district court level, you need to provide the judgment at the district court. We have our plaintiff and our defendant, so Gieslin and Bryant. And once again, remember that facts of the case and the legal issue and the procedural history should all be found at the very beginning of the case, the first page or the top of the second page. And then the plaintiff's arguments and the defendant's arguments are found in the middle of the case. And the court's judgment, that is found at the very end of the case. However, the reasoning for that court's final judgment will be found throughout the middle section of the case. Yeah, here is the case. I tried to find one that not only is relevant for our topic of this week, but one that is manageable. So it's only about 3 pages and should be definitely reasonable for you to brief and should be a seamless process. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. If you want me to review your work in advance, send me a draft. Feel free, I can provide you with feedback. But yeah, best of luck with this assignment, and I really look forward to reading them. Have a great rest of your week.